Hey guys, Julian here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make house music like Detroit Swindle. As usual, you get the full project file and samples and MIDI and presets. Everything from this video is available right at the top of the description for just $5 on my Bandcamp, and if you're patient on my Patreon, check there because it's already available. And yeah, let's get going. So this is a little bit in the intro. The first sound that we have here is the chord progression, which sounds like this. So the way this chord progression works is we have two layers playing this here, but for the actual notes you can see what these are just major and minor ninth chords. So yeah, this is a really simple kind of thing to write. It just kind of sounds complex when you hear it in these style of tracks, but it's really not that complicated. You can see basically I've just got like this simple chord here. So let's say this is just starting with the G sharp minor, then we go to E major, and then F sharp major. Really simple. And then what's happening is we have sevenths and ninths on top of the chords, and then we get this cool sort of jazzy feel. Yeah, so really simple. The cool thing to keep in mind though with this is sort of like the note length makes a big difference. Like if you'll notice, these are all kind of different lengths. Like you'll do like that. And yeah, so that kind of stuff makes a big difference, especially like over here. That like So yeah, definitely something to pay attention to when you're writing these kinds of chord progressions. For the sound with this one, it's made using two layers. We have this one, which you can hear is sort of like more of a Rhodes style of like, kind of somewhere between like a Rhodes piano and an organ. This one's adding more of like the low mid-range. And then we have this one, which is like just a straight sort of Wurlitzer Rhodes type of sound. And yeah, so you gotta layer these together because you kind of get like the best of both. Like this on its own isn't quite enough body, but then the other one on its own isn't quite enough high end. So when you put them together, it really fits together nicely in the track. Yeah, and then I've got those in a group, so we should have a little bit of processing. The first thing here is this really short reverb. Here's without this. And then with it, you can see we just brought the size and then the K time down a bunch, and the dry wet isn't even that high. It's just adding a little bit of space to the sound, and a little bit more resonance, and kind of brings the sound to life. Then we have this drum bus. This is just sort of gluing these together and fattening them up. Here's without it. And then with it, so you can hear why we put this on. It really just crunches everything together and makes it all sound fat. Then we have this EQ8, which is just cutting out the low end just to kind of clean that up and make a bit of room for the bass. And the final thing here is this compressor, which is sidechaining this to the kick. So here's without this. And then with it, you can hear like this is a pretty heavy sidechain, and that's essential for like the energy in this beat, because you have everything sort of bouncing off of that quarter note. And yeah, after that we have the string, which sounds like this. So for the notes on this one, it's actually very simple. It's just playing, so we're in the key of G sharp minor, so basically it's just playing D sharp, which is the fifth. It plays that for 3 bars, and then on the fourth one, it goes down to this G sharp, which is the root note. So really simple. It's just kind of playing off of the chords. pretty simple sort of housey stuff. And yeah, and then for the sound with this one, the way it's made is by taking the string sample. And you can see I brought it into a simpler down here. And we have this being looped. So I'm using the loop, and then we're using the fade here. So you get that like smooth thing where it'll just constantly play through and it keeps restarting. Because if you don't do this, you hear like you can very obviously tell when it resets. This fade here and the loop inside of simpler is a really great way to solve that problem. After that, we have a bit of chorus to spread the sound out, and then we have this Haas effect. So what this is basically the Haas effect is where you take a sound, split it into the left signal and the right signal, or I guess this will be my left and your right, but you split it into each of the different ears, and then you just move one of them ever so slightly forward. So now they're happening slightly after, or one is happening slightly after the other, like literally maybe between 10 and 50 milliseconds. And what happens is, because of this, you're hearing the same sound at different times in each ear, so you get this super wide, huge, spread out sound. And that's what this is. So here's without this, and then with it. So you hear it so much more present with this. It just puts this into a completely different place in the mix and spreads it way out and makes like everything else kind of sit behind it. But then everything else is still up front too. It's like you can, it just kind of gives it its own place in the mix. And so the way we're doing this here is with an audio effect track. You can see we have the left signal and the right signal, and then on the right ear I have this delay, and then that's 100% wet. We have no feedback, so you're just getting one signal, and then it's literally just pushing that one signal up 10 milliseconds, and then by doing this, we get it 10 milliseconds after the left ear, and we have the Haas effect. And then the final thing we have on here is just the compressor side chaining into the kick, and that is it for the string. After that, we have the bass, which sounds like this. So these notes are really simple. It's mostly just playing around. So it's following the chord progression. It's the same chord progression that you saw with the chords up top. That's all it's doing. And then it's mostly just bouncing up like octaves of different notes than that. Like we have this G sharp, and then G sharp an octave up. Another one here. Then we have E, and then E an octave up. We have this B there. So that's just kind of, throwing in an extra note there that's in the key with the E. And then we have another F sharp there, and then we have C sharp, the fifth of F sharp. E is also the fifth of B, or B is also the fifth of E, excuse me. So yeah, just, really simple, just following fifths and octaves, and then just kind of like getting the energy, like making sure it's constantly going and bouncing around like this. But the sound on this one, it's really simple actually. It's just a sine wave. All I've done here is, we just got a sine wave inside of operator, and then this is going into a low pass filter. And so the reason for this is because oftentimes a sine wave on its own can be kind of like louder in some ranges and quieter in some others. Like if we turn off this filter, notice how it gets louder when it jumps up, but then when we turn it on, it's all even. So that's what this is doing. It's just kind of making it so everything, like even the highest notes have that same bass response that the low notes have, and they're not like way louder. After that, we have a saturator just to kind of beef it up, and then a compressor side chaining into the kick, and that is it for the bass. And then after that, we have the kick, which sounds like this. So with this kick, you can hear it's a really simple, just sort of fat, punchy, like thump kick. I've just got a little bit of saturation on it. This one's more about like the type of sample you would choose. Usually in house music it would be like a 909 style kick, or like a big sort of just clicky kick. But in this style, just very deep and thumpy. This is almost like a trap kick, And there's just something to that whole mix there. And yeah, and then I have the kick and the bass in a group with just a little bit of saturation. Here's without that. And then with it, so you can hear how this makes everything just hit a bit harder and kind of punch through the mix a bit more. while also gluing the kick and bass together. And you can note like where the kick sits in this mix too, how everything is kind of louder than it, but it still hits, like it still is punching through everything. And that's what you want to go for with this style of music. So yeah, after that we have the percussion, which all together sounds like this. So I'll just walk you through what we've got going on here. You can see first thing is the clap, which sounds like this. So this is just 2 layers. We have this one, more of like a roomy clap, and then this one, which is just straight punch. And then you put them together. We got a little bit of drum bus to kind of make them hit a bit more. Here's without that. And then with it, so you can hear that just really makes it punch through over that kick. And in the mix. And yeah, so definitely layering together claps like that I think is a really good idea with this style. Like, just trying to get the best of both. Like, we have that really punchy clap, and then also the sort of more roomy clap. And yeah, after that we have this hi-hat, which sounds like this. So you can hear it's just playing on the upbeats. It's a simple sort of like drum machine style hi-hat. You can see I've just got a bit of a high pass on it. We've got some drum bus, and then I have an EQ8 cutting off a little bit of that like super sharp high end, so it's less like kind of bothering your ears. But yeah, the main thing with this one is, again, just like with the kick, it's really not the type of hi-hat you would typically choose in this style of house. But you can hear like it works really well. It's all about just getting something that's got some nice power to it that's gonna hit properly in the mix like this. And just making sure that it's not too thin. After that we have the ride, which sounds like this. So it's just playing in here. This is very techno, honestly, having it go like. But yeah, we just got this in here. You can see I've got it high passed a bunch. I've got some chorus on it to make it a bit bigger. And then we have an auto pan. So this is just being slowly panned from left to right. Kind of brings the mix to life a little bit. And also differentiates it from that hi-hat, because now you can very much hear that it's 2 different things. After that we have the shaker, which sounds like this. So yeah, just like a short little being repeated over and over. Then we have this little bell. That and this is actually pretty important for the groove. If I turn this off, you can hear it's a little bit more flat sounding. But just having like 1 or 2 things like this that kind of just adds something a little bit more exciting to it, that's all you need. So yeah, you can see we've got the velocities kind of staggered on this. That's kind of an important thing with this, is just how you set the velocities. And then for the sound, it's 2 layers. We have this one, and then this one. So just kind of like 2 sounds that complement each other. And fill out that sort of part in the mix. And then the last percussion sound is just this little bongo. It just kind of plays off of the bell. You can hear it's just adding a little bit of extra percussion to fill it up in the background. And yeah, and then on the group of the percussion, we just have a little bit of drum bus. Here's without this. And then with it, so you can hear, gives everything a lot of punch, a lot of fatness, and really brings it forward in the mix. You know, it's going to make your percussion just that much stronger amongst everything else in the mix. And it's also gluing it all together. And yeah, so that's me for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get the full project file and samples, MIDI and presets. Everything that we've just gone through in this video is available right at the top of the description for just $5 on my Bandcamp. If you guys want to support me and help me keep making these videos for you guys every single day, it's a great way to do it. It's not that expensive, and like I said, supports me greatly. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.